We got the Colts at the Steelers. The Steelers are 3-point underdogs at home, which makes sense. The over-under is 50.5. Hell yeah. This would be a little bit of difference compared to the other game. We'll start with the Colts have the ball on the road at the Artist formerly known as Heinz Field. What are you checking out against the Steelers defense and this Colts offense that just puts up 40 burgers every single week?
Oh man, I'm expecting more of the same. I don't really see a reason to doubt it at this point. We're 8 games into this, and they're still averaging 1 million points per drive, and they're totally unstoppable. Jonathan Taylor's playing. Seriously, I mean, okay, so we're halfway through the season. They're averaging 3.46 points per drive, almost 3.5 points per drive, which is like obviously the best in NFL history, all time good. Like raising down everyone you play against, and we can say it. The Steelers defense is objectively bad this year, like really, really pretty bad. I've seen this game before this season when the Colts play a bad defense. It doesn't end well because they can run the ball at explosive clips on a consistent basis. There's no answer for that. Like in the history of the game, if you can run the ball and get like 6 yards, a few times a drive, you're gonna win just about every game you play. So
it's like a basketball player. If I can get to the rack every single time, if I can get to the hoop every single time, why shoot a jumper?
Yeah. Exactly.
If I shoot layups and 2-footers every single time and I can do it every single time, I'm not going to learn my jumper. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's kind of what I mean. Seriously. That's football at times.
Yeah. And like I've gone through it, and I know the Steelers have, they have one of the best red zone defenses in the league this year, but I just kind of don't think that matters this week. Like, because what's been so frustrating about the Steelers, for me at least, is I thought their front seven would be a lot more productive than they've been, and they're just getting moved away, or they're running in the wrong direction on the back end with their linebacker play. So against an offense that's like this cohesive and just this much of a machine, and not even that, just this physical, like they want to run you the hell over. I don't really see how they have a chance of really slowing this down. Maybe you can bait Tingle Jones into some interception, but they've done a pretty good job of like not even really having to put him in those situations this year. And I think that's going to be more of the same this week. Like this Colts offense, they've earned our respect for sure. They're one of the best offenses in the history of the NFL. I'm absolutely fascinated to see what happens in the postseason, but this, based on what we've seen, should not be a real challenge for them.
That's it. It's like the Steelers haven't done anything. I mean, that's the thing. Another thing about the Steelers defense is the Packers. After they play the Packers, we talked about this a little bit, but they're predictable. Like they do some funky stuff on the back end, but it's like, yeah, but I know your 3 things that you do. So it's not like, Jordan Love, every time they did something funky, it was like, oh, it's this look. All right, here we go. I'm just going to throw it over here. Like, as opposed to going like, oh, I got to look at the safety and confirm that. It was just like, oh, okay, you're getting into this funky look, and if I know it doesn't become exotic, it doesn't become funky if that's what you do. Lining up TJ Watt on the same side every single time. All right, well, I'll just run left, or I'll provide chip help over there. And just the first couple things I looked at was starting with the run game was, okay, not only is this the best run game in the NFL, and like you said, explosives. I'm glad you brought up the red zone stuff, but if you're getting explosive scores and explosive gains, we don't have to worry about red zone stuff because we can score outside the 20-yard line. We can score from the 35. We can score from the 50. Like that's why you kind of take that card away. It's not a methodical drive team. But like I looked at it, and a lot of Taylor's big plays this year, Jonathan Taylor, the Colts run a little bit of everything because they can, is split zone, which is an inside zone run. You'll run towards the tight end, but then the tight end splits across the formation and blocks the opposing edge. It's a classic run. Everybody runs it. They do it with Tyler Warren a bunch. Don't have to have him block at the point of attack. He gets him on the move, gets some little burliness in there. And a lot of their big runs have been off a split zone. And want to know the usual times you run split zone, unless it's your fastball, is going against teams with bad linebackers or linebackers with bad eyes. guess which defense has the linebackers with bad eyes? The Steelers. And so I think there's going to be a ton of split zone. And I looked it up on FTN. They run more inside zone, this is categorized, than anybody else in the NFL. The Colts do about 8 times per game. They've run at 59 carries for 297 yards. They're 6th at yards per carry at 5 yards per carry, 6th in explosive run rate, 7th in DVOA, because you can do that on FTN. Steelers defense against inside zone, 10th worst yards per carry at 4.6, 7th highest explosive run rate allowed. So it's just a lot of like, again, that term natural answers. Colts just keep doing what they're doing. And even with Josh Downs and Anthony Gould, both missed practice, they're slot guys. It's not like I look at it and go, oh man, that's going to really hinder them. It's, I don't know, I'll just run the ball and I can just target Tyler Warren, or I can just have Alec Pierce or somebody else just run past the slow corners that aren't JPJ. If not anyone noticed this, Tucker Kraft going off last week. Now they have to defend Tyler Warren and the Steelers against tight end targets, according to Next Gen Stats. 4th highest EPA per dropback, 15 explosive passes, which is the most in the NFL, most yards per game allowed to tight ends, 4th most yards per attempt, 9.1 yards per attempt allowed to tight ends right now. So I think this is going to be a couple shot plays, a lot of run the ball, and a lot of Tyler Warren. And unless it's some Tomlin magic, some Tomlin voodoo, I just don't see what they can pull at.
Yeah, it's just too much going in the other team's direction, or it's too much going in the Colts' direction as far as just easy answers kind of beat up this Steelers defense. And like I said, I keep waiting for the defensive line in Pittsburgh to have a big game, big performance. Don't think it's coming this year. Really, really kind of disappointing the step back they've taken up there. But hey, that's good for the Colts because it seems like it's demolition derby time to me. And then you get to just see if Aaron Rodgers can just kind of scrape together something to try and keep up with them. I don't know.
Keep the good times rolling. All right, the other side of the ball, a little more interesting, I guess, but it's not like something super stood out. But Nick Cross and Kenny Moore did not practice for the Colts on Wednesday, so I do have to mention that because that's gives against a team that literally has one wide receiver. It still matters. Yeah. That's the Steelers offense. But what did you think about this side of the ball? Anything stand out to you?
Honestly, the more I dug into it, I guess the more I got worried for the Steelers in an overall sense because
your tone, I haven't gotten that from you at all, that you're worried about where the Steelers are at right now.
but it's just this is not a bad offense. I think overall this is a pretty good offense. Like you said, they only have one receiver. I think they're probably a little disappointed with how monolithic their running back room has become. They're probably expecting a little more from Caleb Johnson this year. Although I understand why you can't put him in the game after he doesn't know the rules on kickoff. You can't put him in the game anymore. I get it, Mike. I get it.
In college,
right? But it's a rule as old as a game. You muff the ball, go dive on it. How do you let it just? Yeah. How are you walking off the field after you muff a punt? You can't play anymore. Absurd. We should cut you, honestly. If there wasn't a salary cap. But this offense is just it's boom or bust, and which is okay like some weeks, but I think we've seen the past few weeks it's not enough to buoy their defense. Like when they get into these games against the Packers, we scored 25 points, and you have some drives where you're moving the ball, and overall they're 9th in points per drive this year, but they're also 30th in drives without a first down. So it's like we're all or nothing. And I think that makes a little bit of sense. It makes a little bit of sense when you think about where their passing game is and where they kind of are as a team, because they just have so few options to really try and move the ball consistently. And I think that like against the Colts, it's not like they have the most overwhelming defense, but they do like just enough to kind of keep things in front of them and, kind of try to survive these drives and get the ball back to the hands of their offense, which is, just mowing people down. And I think that's kind of how this one's going to play out. Like I expect the Steelers to have drives where it looks all right and the offense is flowing and they're moving the ball. And if they can run the ball well, that's usually means they're going to have a pretty good drive and score a touchdown. But on those drives where they don't, hey, you're asking a lot from your defense there, man, to keep going out and stopping that Colts offense. So I honestly think this game will look similar to that Packers game they played, where it's like, oh, you guys don't suck, but you're not good enough to actually beat the elite tier of the NFL, which is kind of where they've been for the past 4 years in Pittsburgh. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a solid. But solid offense, I'm right there with you. I think it's more just like an average offense. It's just they can't survive shootouts. Like if they had if they had the defense that we maybe were optimistic about, this is a good formula. Like they can, stay in a lot of games, ugly it up, and then hit enough plays where Rodgers can spin it. They're not a shootout offense. Like Rodgers is not built that way anymore. And just how he plays, he attacks so quickly and so underneath with the occasional go ball. He doesn't throw over the middle, so you're not going to get a ton of yak. He checks it down a ton, so it's tight ends and running backs over and over. So really, their formula is, if they go against a defense that doesn't tackle, okay, then they have a chance. But if they go against, like the Packers last week, one of the best tackling defenses in the NFL, they got no shot, because no one's popping a play with the ball in their hands. So I was even looking for the Colts, because now you got Lou Anarumo, who can do some funky stuff and maybe get something. I'm curious if he does like a little hot dropper. Like they feign a blitz and then drop someone over the middle, because Rodgers, old Rodgers, that's been something that gets him, as opposed to young Rodgers, because then he would improv, and now he can't improv. And then the Colts defense, they're pretty good against throws under 10 yards. It's not the perfect defense. I think you can get them, but I just don't think the Steelers team is set up to get them. On deep throws, they're opportunistic. They'll allow some explosives, don't get me wrong, but they also get a bunch of picks. And they're really good against throws over the middle and intermediate stuff, and then maybe deeper stuff can get them. But that's the thing, is Rodgers, when he throws a deep stuff, it's like the occasional go ball. It's not some big dig post combo like with the Rams got this defense with Stafford, because he's willing to throw those. So that's the thing, is like, it's not a amazing, overwhelming defense. They're solid, but it also, you can get at them. It's just, I don't think the Steelers are built to get after them unless their defense create some turnovers against a team that's not really turning the ball over, get some big sacks against a team that's not really getting a lot of sacks, can control the game a little bit. They have to hope for some flukiness, I think, for this to all work out.
Yeah, it's gotta be frustrating. Like, that'd be frustrating being a fan of the Steelers right now, because, man, like you finally, like, the offense is good enough to like win a playoff game if you had the defense to balance it out on the other side. Like, by itself,
they're 12th in DVOA. Not enough. The Steelers offense is 12th in DVOA right now.
11th in EPA per play.
That's a win.
Points per drive. That's good. It's just not good enough for this defense.
Yep. I know, and that's the thing, is it's good. They're very matchup dependent, and the thing is, their defense, it doesn't matter who they go against, you can get after them. So it's not a ugly
the reverse
formula.
Of what you've been fighting for, Steelers fans.
Yeah, I know. God, I know. I'm glad sometimes I'm not a fan of some teams. They got Colts this week, then they got Chargers, and then they got Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens. Whew. Interesting. Next month. We got some defenses we're headed towards.
Yeah, we're headed towards the 10-7, where everyone feels bad by week 18 again.
And then they go to Kansas City again.
Get smoked.
Another one of those. I know. That's the thing, is I think this offense has been a win for the Steelers, and as good as they help, I think the young offensive line is cool. I think Jalen Warren is a really cool player, a good running back. It's just that DK Metcalf and Rodgers have a nice connection. It's just there's a cap to this offense right now, and I think that's what's tough with the defensive pairing. All right, final predictions. Steelers, again, we're 3-point underdogs. Colts are 3-point favorites at the stadium formerly known as Heinz Field.
I'm taking the Colts. I do think this game could be competitive for like 2.5 quarters until the leading portion starts and it kind of gets out of control.
Yeah, I know this old coach adage, just Steelers need some turnovers. That's really it. And the Colts have been really good at taking care of the ball. So I'm going Colts as well. I think Colts cover as well, but I don't think it's a total blowout, because I think the Steelers offense is respectable. But I do think it's just the Colts offense is too much to keep up. That's why the over-under is 50.5. So I do think there will be some points, some good drives on both sides, but the Colts win out as the game goes along.